YouTube world, my name is Nicholas Montez, and you're watching my YouTube channel, Nicholas Montez. Welcome back to another YouTube channel, everybody. I'm so excited to have y'all back here together again. And in today's video, we're going to be doing a very exciting video today, because if you guys do not know, today, by the time you're watching this, it will be June 9th. By the time I'm filming this, it is June 6th. And basically, today what we're doing is we're doing a ranking video of ranking all 24 new releases of the spring movie season movies of 2022 that I've seen. So if you don't know how this works, basically the movie that I watched on, I believe, March 19th, I believe, through June 9th, which is today, that ends that thing. And basically the first day that I started spring break all the way to the last day of school is the way I'm doing this. So all those movies that I watched from then to now, those are the movies that are in this list of new releases. So let's go ahead and get started ranking all 24 of these films. Now, this is just a movie that is just bad on so many levels that I just can't imagine talking about it. Like, first off, the animation is just bad. The characters are bad. Nothing really saves the movie. Like, the way that the characters, and even the character designs, like, the way that the dogs move, just feels like it's a production that was not yet fully finished. And that's kind of an issue with the film, so overall. And even though they have J.K. Simmons, and I'm sorry, Brian Hall, I appreciate that you actually got into a movie like this, but I just don't like your movie. I'm sorry. And I don't even remember your character. Your character is not even likable either, so there's nothing that saves this one for me. So for me, I didn't know that this movie was coming out this weekend. That weekend, I watched it May 1st. Technically, I watched it the weekend it came out, but it was the day after April ended, so I had to. I included it, but I didn't include it because I didn't include it in the April ranking because I hadn't seen it yet. But in general, this movie is not good because it's basically, unlike everybody else has been saying, is much like the first 365 days, the movie is basically just a big music video that goes off too long, and it basically just revolves around sex. That's all it is. Like, there's no character development. Like, I guess you could say when characters get shot, it kind of looks cool, but it's like, I didn't really come here for that. And I didn't really know what to come for, so that's one thing. And so, like, there's just I can't believe that they just made multiple sex scenes. And I actually watched the first 365 days, just to like actually know about this film. So easily, this is one of the worst ones. Now, I will say this is actually a movie that's a little bit better than 365 Days, This Day, and Marmaduke, but it's definitely still not a good movie. I think that, of course, the cast is great with Karen Gillan, Michael Keegan, Michael Key, Pedro Pascal. The whole cast is great. I just think the idea of the film, as it kind of tells this story with these actors during quarantine, and some of them are positive for COVID, and they have to be doing all that, and it's kind of relatable in a sort of sense. But then it just has all this weird humor, and basically thinking like we're being taken hostage, and we shouldn't be doing this, and like some of the acting just does not seem right for these actors. Even Pedro Pascal's like, "Do you want to have sex with me?" Like, he does that to almost every girl in the film. And then there's all these awkward sex scenes, and like, oh my gosh, it's so bad. I just can't believe I was thinking I was gonna like this movie, but then I just turned out not. So this movie's easily a disappointment. Now this is a movie that I kind of liked. It wasn't bad or anything. It's just I couldn't really enjoy it because it's like it was sort of boring in a way, and like it kind of tried to do humor, and I just don't think it really worked. The story itself didn't really work. I guess the only thing that kind of saved it for me was seeing a guy from the neighborhood on it. So yeah, that's really it. But everything else was pretty bad. Okay, now this is actually a film that I actually think is better than most of the other films in the past 4 movies that I mentioned. Just because I think it tells a pretty bit better story, as it focuses on this girl that is a lesbian, that it focuses on all this other stuff of her coming out and stuff, and I think it's, I can't say relatable because I'm straight, I'm not gay, but some people are kind of, I mean, I have some friends that are, I guess you could say, gay. They're gay. Some of my friends are gay. So I think some of them don't really, their parents don't allow that, but who knows. But I guess you could say it feels a little bit relatable in a sort of sense, because it's not really just about gayness, but it can also be about anything that you like that your parents probably won't like. So it's kind of a sweet little movie, but honestly, it's not my kind of thing. Alright, now this is actually a film that I never really enjoyed or liked. I kind of enjoyed it, it was fun to see Ben Affleck in a film about this girl that was, like, cheating on him or something. And honestly, I don't really know what to think about this movie. It's just not really good to me. So yeah, this is actually a bit of a better movie in my eyes, as it's kind of an action movie. And there are some intense sequences here and there, but if I'm being honest, this film it's still not enjoyable. I don't really like it. It's not really my favorite one, so it's gonna go at the bottom for me. I mean, it's good. It's right here, so I don't really know what else to say. It's enjoyable with the intense sequences, but nothing else. Now this is actually a bit of a better movie for me, as it basically just tells a love story, and you have this family drama stuff going on, and I think it does well with that, and I just think it tells a much better story. It's a lot more interesting than most of these films, so you actually got a good movie on this list. Now this is a pretty fine film. It's not amazing, it's not great, but I enjoyed it for what it was. It was a cool little story that took place during the war. That's it. That's all it really was. Now this is actually a movie that actually came out very recently, and I have to say, I enjoyed it. It was okay. I just was not used to seeing a movie that was all around gay boys. And not saying that I'm, like, against it. I'm supportive of it. You can do what you want. But I'm like, I'm not used to people doing stuff like this. I don't know. I just wasn't used to it. But the story itself was pretty cool. It was fun. It was funny at times. But just not a film I was used to at first. Now, this movie is actually a little bit better than most of the other films on this list. Now, I think that the way you actually took this boy and as you take these two brothers that basically fall in love with, like, metal music, and I think it's pretty fun. It's pretty funny. And they create like relationships, and they like create this band, and I think it is actually pretty cool in the way the story is told. And so yeah, I just thought it was actually a pretty good film. I liked it more than most people. Now, this is a movie that everybody is raving about now, because it's like, everybody is, when I tell you that everybody's raving about it, everybody is absolutely raving about it. I mean, personally, I don't think it's a great film. I have some issues with it, but on the positives, I mean, I just think that the way that they incorporated cameos into this film was amazing. Like, we got Doctor Strange in, like, one of the most famous things about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and was one of my most disappointing things about the film, is that we just did not get a lot of cameos. This film literally goes and puts a lot of cameos for us. I mean, they give us ugly Sonic the Hedgehog. They give us what an adult version of Peter Pan would look like, and what exactly would he be doing if he did turn into an adult. He would make bootlegged Disney films. You also get a cameo of Lumiere. You see Baloo in his Jungle Book form, except standing like a human. You also get that little Seth Rogen cameo bit with Pumbaa and Mantis and the blue blob from Monsters vs. Aliens. And so yeah, I love the cameos and all, and I like the way that the story revolves around Chip and Dale. I was a little bit nervous at first, because how are they gonna have Chip and Dale be voiced by two comedic actors? And they actually work, but at the same time, they do kind of have a little part of their little chipmunk voice. So I thought that was pretty cool. But the problem here is that the movie I feel like it revolves too much on cameos, that it kind of pays away of telling the true and real story of Chip and Dale, of their characters together. But overall, I still thought the film was very enjoyable, and I still like to rewatch it. Now, this film was actually pretty good, and another film that I actually saw very recently. Of course, it's an action movie, so of course this is my kind of genre. Of course, it brings the girl that was the ex-wife of Dom in Fast and Furious. So, if she was good in those films, she's actually easily good in this film. And the way that she actually does action, she actually can do it. The plot, like, when this guy will not give up of trying to get into this story to launch the nuclear codes on Russia. And he's just crazy in what he's doing. And so yeah, the action's good. It tells a pretty good story, but at the same time, it also feels relatable into other movies we've seen before. So that's kind of what brings it down just a little bit. But overall, I still thought this was a pretty good film, and I actually do enjoy it still. Now, I would say that this is actually one of the better Cheaper by the Dozen films that I've actually ever seen. And I probably think it's the best out of all of the ones that I've seen. It basically tells the story, like, are they really gonna do like they did with the first movie, where they basically say that we have all these jobs, but we want like 12 a dozen children. This film doesn't actually do that. They actually tell the story as it's basically step siblings and step parents, and it actually makes sense of to why that happens. Though at the same time of having a lot of kids in the household probably isn't the best thing to have, but at the same time it makes sense in light of a story that's told today. And even then, the kids' characters, they're all relatable in sort of sense, as one character likes Comic-Con, one character wants to be a designer when they grow up. Like, all of that is just so relatable. And there's even some funny little bits, and I like the new references of new technology in the mix. So I actually enjoyed this film for what it was. Now, this movie's fine. It was a good Disney Plus film that told, I believe it was based on a real story, or maybe a Broadway musical. But the idea of this kid wanting to be on Broadway, to be on this Broadway musical of Lilo and Stitch, it's fine. And, you know, him referencing all these other Disney Broadway musicals like Lion King and all this stuff, and him being like a real musician, it's fun, it's fine, not really my thing, but I did enjoy it though. Now this is another movie that I actually do like, as it takes place with these two characters that are just trying to get to their loved ones that are up in space. But as they're trying to get to them, they start to create a love relationship with each other. And I actually think it works because both of them are actually likable. They also have great chemistry with one another. And it's just a very likable film. So I enjoyed this movie for what it was. Now this is another movie that, you know, it stars basically the Flash. And I thought it was pretty good. You know, it told kind of a familiar story, though it felt like a TV movie, and basically it is because it was released on Netflix. But I thought it was pretty good. You know, not exactly like great. I probably shouldn't have included this because I think it came out like a week. Like the Wednesday of the week of when I was my last week before spring break. So I probably shouldn't have included this, but whatever. Because this film needs to be included in the list somehow. And even then, even if it was released on the Wednesday, it still counts. But I thought it was pretty good. It was emotional with the dog stuff. I thought it was, as a dog movie and as a guy that stars the Flash, I thought the movie was pretty good. Now this is a movie that I think does really well with what it's going for, as it basically does these horror vibe stuff, but with video games. Like there's this scene where the girl is trying to save her mom from like this rat that's trying to get her, and you actually feel intensified of what exactly is going on. It's like you feel the tension that's going on in the scene, and I really liked the way this movie was doing horror stuff really right. And then likewise, like the room is changing, the room is doing a lot of things, and it's like you feel intense throughout the entire scene, and I love the way that this film does it. Granted, kind of not exactly the most original film of all time, but it's still a film that I actually do like. Okay, so from here on out, and I know I don't usually say this, but every other movie on this list is actually movies that I actually do really like. And Polar Bear is the first one of those movies, and I actually just really enjoyed what Disney Nature brought to us. It was another satisfying Disney Nature documentary that I just thought it explored an animal that did a good story, as it basically told a story about polar bears going through climate change, as they're trying to, you know, they're trying to go across the entire like Arctic, and you know, some polar bears die from the cold. And then likewise, the shots look amazing. And then of course you get the thing you came for, of seeing polar bears do cute polar bear things. So I thought it was very enjoyable, beautiful in many ways. It told a beautiful story of this little polar bear family, and I just thought it was a very good film. Now, this is another movie that I actually really liked. First off, the animation, I mean, I have never seen a movie that has better animation, probably Into the Spider-Verse, but this is a movie that the animation is just surreal. The movie literally feels like I'm watching, and like when the character is talking or moving, I feel like I'm actually watching a real person. I don't feel like I'm watching an animated character. And I like how this film does that. But likewise, the way that the story is told, as it basically as Jack Black is narrating it, as he's telling like his story with the experience of the astronaut stuff. And if I'm being honest, like you don't really get any really much astronaut stuff. Sure, you do get it. They do have a couple scenes where they talk about like past astronauts, like Neil Armstrong, and other people, and they do talk about other stuff. But like they mention, I like the way they actually talk about real life events like the World War II and the death of John F. Kennedy, and even the stuff that they ate back in the day, like because like creamed corn and bread and all this other stuff, and all these like ham sandwiches. And I love the way that the film does that, as it like basically explains what people ate back in the day, since we don't really have much stuff now. So I thought that was excellent in the way they did that. So overall, while the premise of the movie is not exactly as told as it should be, I still think the film is really good. Now this is a movie that I actually like a little bit better than the original Stargirl. I just thought it told a much more interesting story. Now granted, as I heard about that they were making a sequel to this movie, I was like, I saw some of the trailers and I was like, wait, so they're not bringing that boy back that liked her in the first movie? Like, what? So they bring in a new boy, and I thought that the rapport between them are great, but then I also thought it was a much relatable film, as with Stargirl and her mom, you have this like scene where she's like, life is an adventure, but she even tells her mom like, I want to meet people, but I want to get to know people. I want to get to know them so much. And it's like she can't because her and her mom keep moving so much, and it's like she never really can make real friends other than her like pet rat or pet mouse or something like that. But then like she gets this opportunity to be in like a movie, and like she says, I can make money. And then like when the mom loses her job, Stargirl's like, I can make money. I'm going to make a movie. I can make money, and I can get you a job here. We don't have to move. And I thought it was a satisfying film. Granted, the ending was not exactly what I wanted, but overall, I thought it was a pretty great sequel for what it got for. Now, this was a movie that I actually was thinking this was going to be one of the worst movies I've ever seen this year, because like even the title just sounded so stupid. Like Sneakerella, you're switching out the glass slipper for a sneaker to put on the princess. So I'm like, what are you doing? And even the trailers, I didn't really want to see them because I knew the film was going to be bad. But if I'm being honest, the movie's actually pretty good. Now it's not a full Cinderella story. It changes a lot of things. The movie, like the main guy is not a princess, it's not a girl, it's a boy. And instead of this evil stepbrother and instead of the evil stepsister and the evil stepmother, it's the evil stepfather and the evil stepbrothers. And I thought that was a really cool twist. And the love interest, it also takes kind of an Aladdin twist, as the two love characters actually spend more time with the film, as in Cinderella they just dance for a little bit and they get married. This one they actually have a relationship together, and I thought that was actually really interesting. And then likewise, like even the pop music and all that stuff I thought was pretty good. Even the boy's best friend, I thought had a nice rapport with her. So I just thought the movie was pretty good. I'm not exactly sure why they'd have to take place in New York when it could have taken place anywhere else. Maybe it's just because New York is a big city and stories like this tend to take place in big places. But overall, the film is actually really good. So for me, this was a movie that I started out watching, and I just didn't really know what to think about it. It started out with the girl that played Betty in the MCU Spider-Man trilogy, and she basically like was a cheerleader doing all these sexy dance moves, and then she just falls flat on her back, and I'm like, ooh, what's gonna happen now? So then it goes to a hospital scene with Rebel Wilson in a hospital bed, and she has like all these birthday cards, and I'm like, wait, what just happened? Like, wait, she's been in a coma for 20 years? What? Like, people that have watched this movie probably will think probably not the same thing, because they probably think about movies like this before. I was surprised when that happened. I was like, wait, what? She's been in a coma for 20 years? And I thought that the way that they told the story with all the humor, the way it actually, like, does the high school changes of how high school is from here to now, as there's no prom king and queen anymore, there's no sexy dance moves with cheerleading stuff, and I just thought the way they did that was really interesting to me, so I just thought the movie was very enjoyable. If you want to see more, if you want to hear more of my thoughts on it, just go watch my review for it. But I really enjoyed this movie, and it's also just very hilarious. So, coming in first place is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So for me, I would say that this is definitely one of my absolute favorite movies of this year. If you guys do not know, by the time you're watching this, it is in my top 5 favorite films of 2022. And I just thought this film was really great. First off, Sam Raimi coming into the MCU after what he did with Spider-Man, and after what he did with Spider-Man, I just thought that he was excellent. He was excellent for doing another Marvel movie. And I was thinking, since he was the director of Spider-Man, he might be able to bring in like a lot of cameos. But I thought this film, what it did so excellently is that they told a story with the style of Sam Raimi stuff with, you know, the Sam Raimi stuff I thought was great. Like the music note fight I thought was great. I thought Doctor Strange moonwalking into Defender Strange as a zombie, I thought that was really cool. All the action sequences I thought were really excellent. I love the way that it actually continued Wanda's story, and when they explain it and just get straight to the point with her character, it makes sense of why she's in the movie, and I love that, and I love her character so much. America Chavez was pretty cool, and I'm excited for Doctor Strange 3. I wish that there were more cameos. That's kind of my disappointment with the film, but overall, the movie is really good. I think I liked it more than the original Doctor Strange. Probably not. But overall, I thought the film was really, really good. So that's my ranking of all 24 spring movie season movies of 2022 of the new releases. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All my social media stuff is in the About section over there. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.